Tonight, a WHAS 11 News I-Team investigation is revealing startling details about the crash of a chartered school bus that happened exactly 5 months ago today on I-64 near the Shelby County line.
Well, those federal documents obtained by the I-Team show the tires came from a scrap bin and maintenance records for that bus were burned.
WHAS 11's Joe Arnold started this I-Team investigation weeks after the crash, and he's here now with the exclusive discoveries. Joe?
Well, Doug and Melissa, it was a Wagoner High School trip to the campus of Eastern Kentucky University. But the return trip on Commonwealth Bus 450 gave more than just an education to those on board. This frightening crash that ended their bus trip is now exposing serious violations, the choices made by the bus owner, and jaw-dropping information from the people directly involved.
The tire blew, like it sounded like an explosion.
A blown tire.
I heard this really loud pop.
Commonwealth Bus Service Unit 450, a chartered school bus, careens into a concrete median on I-64.
And you could feel the bus just jerk.
All 29 high school students and 5 adults on board injured. 6 critically.
Our stuff was everywhere, there was blood.
And 5 months later, there are still questions.
I would like to know what the company said about it because, I mean, it could have cost me my life.
Flung across several rows of seats in the crash, 15-year-old Angel Hans suffered a broken back, ankle, and sternum, a shattered elbow, and a head injury.
I'm still recovering. It's a little hard. I have a lot of trouble focusing with my head injury, and I have a lot of pain.
Now we have answers for Angel's questions. The safety of this bus trip was only as secure as the bus tires. In a U.S. Department of Transportation compliance review obtained by WHAS 11 News, the bus owner, Michael Goad, told investigators he got these tires from a friend who happens to have some spare tires this size. We reached Angel and her mother at their home in Tennessee to reveal what we uncovered. The front tires, the steering tires on bus 450 were literally trash. Goad's friend, whose name is redacted from the federal report, told investigators he salvaged the tires from a scrap tire bin at Tony's Brake and Alignment on Poplar Level Road.
The trash. You said the trash, right?
The recycling bin.
Oh. I don't even know how to respond to that, to be directly honest with you.
We have been unable to reach Michael Goad for comment. An employee at Tony's Brake and Alignment told investigators no one at the business could remember letting anyone get tires from the scrap tire bin. And Tony's owner tells WHAS 11 they don't sell used tires and they did not condone or authorize any such action. The unnamed friend's admission is spelled out in U.S. Department of Transportation investigation documents obtained by WHAS 11 News. Quoting from the report, the tires were in the scrap tire bin that were going to be taken by a tire recycler. Instead, what we now know are 11-year-old tires ended up on bus 450. Louisville Metro Police are the lead agency investigating the crash. LMPD brought in 2 experts. First, a post-crash inspection by veteran forensic mechanic Scott Burrows of Trimble County found the tires appeared to have enough tread life and did not show signs of uneven wear. Yet Burrows did express concerns about the tires' age and suggested experts in tire failure take a closer look. LMPD then brought in inspectors from the tire's manufacturer. Goodyear Innovation Center inspectors found evidence the tire was used for some time prior to being mounted on this vehicle and showed signs of over-deflected operation, a result, they say, of underinflation, overloading, or a combination of both. Goodyear explained that over-deflection causes irreversible damage to the tire and can affect handling.
It's just outrageous.
We took our investigation to Bill McMurray, an attorney for 6 crash victims.
It's a ticking time bomb. It is going to blow. It's just a question of when.
McMurray also suspects something was wrong with the bus suspension. And our investigation reveals bus 450 had been in another crash 6 months earlier, which resulted in substantial repairs to the front of the bus, including the suspension. And there is no sign of any inspection before bus 450 returned to the road. Investigators say the bus owner, Michael Goad, told them, quote, He did not have any documents for any of the work that has been conducted due to the 90-plus-year-old man that lives with him burning all the maintenance records to stay warm.
How do you burn records that your business records? That doesn't make any sense.
Bus 450 is being stored now as evidence in the Louisville Mega Cavern. Goad's other bus, 451, was ruled out of service 8 days after the crash when inspectors found brake violations. It now sits on his property near the Bullitt County line. Not only could Goad not produce Bus 450's maintenance records, he admitted to investigators he had not done an annual inspection in a few years. How on earth was that vehicle still on the road? Officer Jared Newberry is with the Kentucky State Police Commercial Vehicle Enforcement.
That's one of those situations, Joe, where we've got road units out there looking for violations. We're looking for things safety related. Sometimes things do slip through the cracks.
Newberry says he's confident state police would have discovered any serious violations if Bus 450 had been selected for a roadside inspection. In Kentucky, the law is the state does not inspect every bus. In fact, it's possible for a bus to never be selected for a spot inspection. Kentucky law does require annual inspections by a certified inspector, and JCPS requires annual and monthly inspections that must be kept on file. But unless authorities demand to see them, the records may go unchecked. Commonwealth Bus Service is an umbrella company for 12 different bus owners. Its treasurer says Goad is the only one who did not maintain his records at their office. Commonwealth declined our repeated requests for interviews. 2 weeks after the crash, the Department of Transportation swooped in, noting dozens of safety procedure violations at Commonwealth, including insufficient drug testing, driver training, driver background investigation, maintenance and inspection records, and operating unsafe vehicles. On July 9th, the DOT proposed an unsatisfactory rating for Commonwealth, indicating it was operating at an unacceptable level of compliance. Commonwealth took some action, and on August 23rd, the rating was upgraded to conditional. All the while, Jefferson County Public Schools continued to use Commonwealth for field trips, but that all changed on Friday. After WHAS 11 shared the discoveries of this investigation, JCPS notified Commonwealth it was temporarily ceasing operations with the carrier, and they are reviewing the matter. A JCS spokesman explained the Kentucky Department of Transportation led them to believe the inspection issue was a paperwork issue, and the district was never informed, he says, that the bus owner had failed to perform any inspections. Angel's mother says Kentucky Safeguards failed her daughter and everyone else on Bus 450.
So in this situation, it failed, and luckily it didn't cost a life, but it cost a lot of heartache and a lot of injuries.
Now, the LMPD police report says Bus 450 also had expired plates and no registration. Its owner, Michael Goad, is no longer listed on the Commonwealth Bus Service roster, but we have learned he's now working as a driver for another charter company, DC Tours, whose owner tells me, though, Goad has nothing to do with their bus maintenance. JCPS is reviewing Commonwealth's record. So far, it has had to find different transportation, though, for more than 250 school trips scheduled this month that were originally booked with Commonwealth. Now, coming up tomorrow night at 6, Bus 450 was one of dozens of charter buses transporting school children every day. How can we know those buses are safe? Our investigation continues. Joe Arnold, WHAS 11 News.
New tonight here at 6, WHAS 11 News has learned the Louisville Charter Bus Company, cited with dozens of violations after a major accident in June, is going out of business.
WHAS 11 last week revealed the federal violations against Commonwealth Bus Service and Transportation.
WHAS 11's Joe Arnold has more on these new developments tonight. Joe?
Well, sources tell WHAS 11 News the Commonwealth Bus Service has stopped operations. Some of its former owner-operators now finding work with at least one other local charter company. We've also obtained this internal Jefferson County Public Schools email, which says Commonwealth will close November 30th. The crash of Bus 450 5 months ago didn't kill Commonwealth Bus Service, at least not immediately. The company's 11 other owner-operators had continued driving for field trips and other school activities. But Commonwealth began losing major business in recent weeks. once its customers learned the details of a federal compliance review conducted after the crash. After Jefferson County Public Schools learned what was uncovered in WHAS 11's I-Team investigation, it rebooked 258 November school trips with other operators. Last week, Bullitt County schools also stopped using Commonwealth. Plus, the company was operating under a conditional federal safety rating and needed to find a new insurance policy. Its current policy set to expire November 30th. Now, JCPS Transportation Services has alerted the district that Commonwealth Bus Service, LLC, will close effective November 30th, 2013, and future Commonwealth trips now need to be rescheduled with another vendor. Metro Police blame a blown left front tire for the June 11th crash, which injured 29 students and 5 adults. Our I-Team investigation revealed the front tires had been retrieved from a scrap tire bin by a friend of the bus owner who spoke to federal investigators. The owner of Bus 450 admitted he had not conducted required annual inspections for a few years, and that documents for major repair work after an earlier crash had been burned. We shared those findings with the crash victim and her mother.
I am very shocked. I am very shocked that someone would practice business sense like this, not put any kind of thought or anything into how their decision affected other people.
The Department of Transportation noted dozens of safety procedure violations at Commonwealth Bus Service, including insufficient drug testing, driver training, driver background investigation, maintenance and inspection records, and operating unsafe vehicles.
Now, Commonwealth has repeatedly declined our interview requests. We again left messages today with their office and with whom we believe to be the company's attorney. JCPS, we should point out, is not the only local school district to use Commonwealth recently. Both Spencer and Bullitt County schools are also now finding new transportation for school trips previously booked with Commonwealth Bus and Transportation. Joe Arnold, WHAS 11 News.
Kentucky State Police are now taking more action after a WHAS 11 I-Team investigation into the crash of a charter school bus in June that injured 34 people.
KSB's Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Division convened a tire safety summit for their officers, Metro Police, and local bus companies, charter bus companies. WHAS 11's Joe Arnold was asked to address this summit. In the wake of his stories, he's here with his I-Team update. Joe?
Well, Doug and Renee, it was pretty clear from the beginning from this video, and Metro Police concluded later a blown tire caused the crash on I-64 at the Jefferson-Shelby County line. Our investigation revealed, you might recall, that the tire was 11 years old, had been retrieved from a scrap tire bin for use on this bus. Well, a veteran tire safety expert says that bus owner should have known better.
Nothing but the air from a tire 5 foot away from you can kill you dead in an instant.
With nearly 50 years of experience in the tire industry, Marvin Bozarth is a nationally recognized and sought-after expert in tire failure and safety policies. He has seen it all. But even he was surprised by what our I-Team investigations uncovered.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
At the request of state police, WHAS 11 presented our I-Team report, which included the revelation by the owner of Commonwealth Bus 450 and his friend that the front tires had been retrieved from a Louisville business's scrap tire bin.
If it was in a scrap pile, any number of things could have been wrong with it. I just can't believe somebody took something like that and put it on a school bus. And the chances are, if somebody had been caring a little bit, when they put it on, they would have noticed something wrong with it, and they would have noticed the age.
The tires were 11 years old, which Bozarth says should have raised some concern, though a post-crash inspection indicated the tires had plenty of tread life. Bozarth says tread is not necessarily an accurate measure of a safe tire.
The tread only gives you mileage. It doesn't give you strength to the tire.
It's just one of many tire misconceptions Bozarth hopes to correct, for the sake of those required to maintain and inspect them.
We had people getting killed. People didn't know what they were doing. They learned from old Joe Blow. Say, well, my people don't need to be trained because they worked with Sam. and he's been here 20 years. But he was doing it wrong, too.
And Bozarth says Kentucky is doing it wrong by not requiring independent inspections of buses.
I learned something here. I didn't know that. I thought the Kentucky State Police done all the buses.
Now, 2 charter bus companies, which also attended the same tire safety summit, have invited the state police commercial vehicle enforcement to inspect their buses. But Kentucky law, unlike Indiana, for instance, does not require those independent inspections. Coming up at 6, the father of one of the students injured in the bus crash is also calling for changes. Joe Arnold, WHAS 11 News.
Tonight, the father of one of the high school students injured in the crash of a chartered school bus on I-64 is calling for changes to Kentucky safety regulations. He says the current policies failed to protect his daughter and her classmates. A WHAS 11 News investigation recently revealed alarming details about that bus and its tires. Today, our Joe Arnold was also invited to present his investigation to Kentucky State Police. Joe is here with the very latest. Joe?
Well, Doug, this I-Team investigation, you might recall, began with this crash, and then the investigation exploded with the details about one bus. It now shifts to the question of whether Kentucky law is adequate to keep bus passengers safe.
I got a phone call.
Miguel Uola was at work June 11th when his teenage daughter called from the I-64 shoulder, injured in the crash of Commonwealth Bus 450 when its front left tire blew as the bus returned from a Wagoner High School college campus trip.
She was on the side of the road waiting for help, and she was feeling her legs numb.
Since then, Uola and the families of the other 33 people on board have learned from WHAS 11's I-Team investigation the bus's front tires had been retrieved from a scrap tire bin. The bus had not been inspected in years.
There is very low consideration when it comes to the safety of our children. I'm starting to wonder if we have a flaw or broken system somewhere.
Uola says this is an opportunity to review Kentucky's bus safety policies.
Probably pulling different experts from the industry or probably even from our government institutions.
What looks like a little cut to you may be much bigger.
The Kentucky State Police Commercial Vehicle Enforcement had the same idea, convening this tire safety summit with KSP, Metro Police, local charter bus companies, and WHAS 11. A renowned tire safety expert was surprised to learn that Kentucky law does not require independent inspections of charter buses.
How well trained are the people that are inspecting them? They tell me they're mechanics. Well, that doesn't mean he knows a lot about tires.
Marvin Bozarth has been a tire expert for some 50 years now. As you know, Doug, Commonwealth Bus Service has since gone out of business after JCPS ceased operations with them when they learned about the findings of our investigation.
Well, I guess I'd really want to know. A lot of charter companies still out there. They're still transporting students here in Jefferson County and the surrounding counties. So if my son is getting on one of those buses going to a field trip, has it been any different since the reports and since the new attention?
State police say they have certainly ramped up and they have made their education efforts and inspection efforts more known. However, the law is still the same today as what it was before. If you want to change Kentucky law, that certainly takes a bill to be filed in the legislature. That has not yet happened as far as trying to ramp those up.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe.